Good evening and welcome to the WDSU News Hot Seat. I'm Travers Mackel. We continue our hot seat debates. Up tonight, the race for City Council at Large Division 2. This is a race that includes the entire parish, all of the city of New Orleans. It is not an open seat. It is currently held by J.P. Morrell. He is the incumbent. He did have a scheduling conflict and cannot be here tonight, but he has drawn two challengers, and they are both here. Both are Democrats, Kenneth Cutno and Pastor Gregory Manning. We thank you all for attending. We are going to give you all a chance to make a 30-second opening statement. We'll do reverse alphabetical tonight. So, Mr. Manning, we'll start with you.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Reverend Gregory Manning. I'm pastor of Broadmoor Community Church. I've been a pastor for 15 years. I'm also a community activist. And look, as a pastor, I hear every day from people who call the church saying that they can't pay their utility bills, can't pay their rent, can't pay their mortgage, and it hurts me to my heart to see that we have an affordability crisis in the city of New Orleans. And look, for the next 4 years, I want to focus on bringing our government together to make good solutions to these problems and keep people living in New Orleans and stop them from having to make the hard choice between living here or moving to a city that's more affordable.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Reverend Manning. And also, way to start us off, under 30 seconds.
Thank you.
Mr. Cutno, you have 30 seconds to make an opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Kenneth Cutno. It is time for a change that we need desperately. And you, the voters of this city, are the change. And I'm standing here to be the change. Our streets is disrupted. Our potholes is too big. Our home insurance is sky high. And we need someone to address those issues. And we need to have real solutions and a candidate and a council member that are going to address the issues and not sidetrack them and try to grab the power.
All right, we're going to start this question with you in 60 seconds because we do want to address this. This isn't an open seat. J.P. Morrell holds this seat. He is considered very popular by a lot of people in the city. In 60 seconds, Mr. Cutno, what is your message? Why do you think you can beat somebody who's perceived as a strong incumbent?
Well, as I stated, it's time for a change. And it's up to you, the people, to change things. We have been voting for names too long. And right now, if we keep on voting, things will remain the same. JP has done nothing for the community, and especially nothing for the black community. It's time for us to have real talk. Our democracy and the black community is under attack, and we need to address those issues. JP is Project 2025. He don't care. All he cares about is power, disrupting, chaos. And our city government has been in chaos for the last 3-4 years. We have paid him almost $1 million just to criticize the mayor, criticize the councilman Oliver Thomas. Last week, it was Eugene Green. Now he's talking about changing the home rule charter. If we change the home rule charter, he would take away our DEI and he would take away the power from the people. He got successful last time when he took the power from the mayor. That's taking the power away from the people. That's why I believe I am a better candidate, because I will fight for the people, I will fight for our community, and I will fight for the black community especially.
All right, Pastor Manning, same questions. Same question. It is an uphill battle, I guess, to take on a very popular incumbent. What makes you think you can win this race against a popular incumbent like J.P. Morrell?
I want to push back just a little bit because the first word you used was a strong incumbent.
Okay.
That word I have an issue with because I do not think that the incumbent is a strong incumbent. Being strong to me means that you have the people on your side, that you speak for the people. An issue that I have with the incumbent is that he has not shown strength by showing up for people, as evidenced by the fact that I am here today and the incumbent is not. I was with him last night at a forum, and today he chooses not to show up. This has been an ongoing issue. To show strength means that you fight for people every day, that you're an advocate for them, and to show more energy and aggression towards other government officials rather than showing it towards energy and fighting for people to have lower utility bills, that does not show strength to me. Strength is making sure that people can stay in this city and they can afford to be here with affordable utilities, affordable housing, and streets that are repaired. I ask the people of New Orleans, Is your life better today than it was 4 years ago? If he was truly a strong incumbent, the answer would be yes.
All right, let's start this question with you. Again, 60 seconds. A lot happening in the French Quarter right now. If you are elected, what is your plan? What is your vision for two big talkers, trash pickup and facial recognition technology in the French Quarter?
You know, I'm not going to enter down the road of the trash pickup debate, but what I'll say is this. All I want is for trash to be picked up. All I want is for the French Quarter to be clean so that it can attract people, so that it can be safe, and that people are paying again for twice a week pickup. Secondly, facial recognition. There is no way to replace human beings with technology. That should never happen. First of all, most of the time, technology will fail us at some point. So let's give people real jobs so that we build community and have people policing instead of artificial technology.
All right, same question, Mr. Cutno, in 60 seconds. If you are elected, what is your plan? What is your vision for the French Quarter when it comes to facial recognition technology and the controversy surrounding trash pickup?
Facial recognition, the answer is no. The trash pickup, let's talk about that. Two black guys won the bid, and we are trying to take it away. JP refused to sign the contract, ignored the order of the courts, two judges instructing him he should be in contempt of court. But this is not about the trash pickup. If French Quarter would like for their city to smell like a lemon, give Richard Disposable a chance. He has been in business for decades, and he could do the job. But we must look at the real issue, and the real issue is not the trash pickup. The real issue is that J.P. Morrell is trying to prevent minorities from seeking opportunities, and that's what we are looking at. As I stated earlier, he's Project 2025. He's trying to take away our rights. He's trying to enforce unnecessary rules by creating chaos. You know, and if you look at the whole process, and I know I only have a certain amount of time, I'm going to go into the second phase of this question, but we need to look at this. Give Richard Disposable the opportunity. You cannot allow the public to overlook the public bid process.
All right, thank you very much. We should point out that I know you made some comments there. J.P. Morrell is a black elected official as well, too. Just to point that out for people who may not be familiar with this. I think most people are, but just to point that out. We're going to start this question with you. It's a 60-second answer as well. Do you support the current NOPD superintendent, Ann Kirkpatrick, and what would be your vision in 60 seconds, Mr. Cutno, to add more cops, police officers to the force if you're elected?
To answer your question, J.P. Morrell is black, but he's not like us. And that's what we need to understand. You know, if we look at the process, J.P. Morrell is trying to grab all the power and take it away from the people of New Orleans. And he controls the city council, which is racketeering. The police department, no, I do not support her, because we have lost $1.1 million by her providing inaccurate crime information. And the crime is not down, citizens. She is supplying false information. And that's why the Department of Justice took away the $1.1 million away from us. Our city is under attack. We have also lost $10 million in housing from the Community Development Block Grant Funds. We have also lost millions and millions of dollars. We are $800 million short in our road repair. We hit $2 billion.
That's okay. We're going to have plenty more questions, but just to push back, the statistics do show that the murder rate is on pace for what would be a record low right now. Reverend Manning, same question for you in 60 seconds. One, do you support Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick? Two, what would be your plan and vision to add more police officers to the force?
Very good question. I appreciate that question. Look, you know, I think that it's very important to support our elected and appointed officials, especially when we are officials that are very front-facing and public-facing. I see no reason to criticize the superintendent. I do know that crime is down, and we are very grateful for that. However, any crime is bad crime, and we want to make sure that we do continue to invest in citywide programming that address our youth, that help things get better on the ground and people that are doing that work. Secondly, let me say this. It is no doubt that we need to focus on recruitment. We need our police officers to be able to live and reside in safe communities. How do we get them mortgages and home loans so that they can move into communities? There's a way to do that. There are community development financial institutes that we can set up that will give officers 1% to 2% interest loans so that they can have homes in the community and we can build community again. That's what it's about. How do we build community and get people to feel safe and comfortable in our city again?
So let me ask you this question. This will be a 30-second answer. We'll start this with you, Reverend Manning. We are a great, diverse city. We have very different and distinctive neighborhoods. In 30 seconds, give me one neighborhood that's top of your list in the city of New Orleans that if you're elected, you would focus on first.
Yeah, I mean, the East, absolutely. There are, and I say the East as a whole, what has to happen is that we have to have more council members that are dedicated to the East. It strikes me as odd that we have not made a plan to increase the number of people on our council so that they can serve such a broad area. If we do that, I guarantee we can see improvement in New Orleans East.
All right, same question, Mr. Cutno, in 30 seconds. We are, as you know, a very diverse city with a lot of specific neighborhoods. If you are elected in 30 seconds, what is one neighborhood that you would focus on first and really try to drill down on to improve?
We all know that New Orleans East is lacking a lot of support. So is Algiers. I would try to focus on Algiers and New Orleans East because that is where the need is really needed. The people is not receiving the funds. And let's just be honest about it. Over $100 billion is coming to the city of New Orleans, but the black community is not receiving it. New Orleans East and Algiers definitely has been left out and they are not included. But they bring in, New Orleans East is the highest tax area for the city. We should have a city hall out there. We should have a courtroom out there. We should have more black-owned businesses out there. We need to focus upon bringing the money to the community that is really lacking in resources.
All right, in 60 seconds, we'll start this question with you. Right now, the mayor has about 5 months left in office. Her approval and popularity numbers are not great. She has fought with the council. That is no secret. If you're elected in 60 seconds, Mr. Cutno, can you vow right now that you will work with the next mayor, whoever that person is, and try not to have back and forth infighting?
Let's set the record straight. The mayor has been doing her job. Now, has she done a good job? Everybody, can grade yes or no. But the reality is, it's not the mayor, it's J.P. Morrell with the chaos he has created, the fighting he has created with the mayor, the fighting he has created with Oliver Tolman, the fighting he has created with Eugene Green. And I would like to explain the reason why. It doesn't have anything to do with the mayor. J.P. Morrell is trying to control this city, and him and his family connection is on the council, and they are trying to grab all of the power. The people may not know this, but I'm going to tell you today. I may not get elected, but I'm going to say the last time somebody revealed something on the hot seat, he did not get elected. I hope Travis helped me out this time. JP is family influence is on this council. He's married to Joe Giarrusso cousin. So that's 1 vote. Helena Marina is the godmother of his kids. That's 2 votes. Troy Carter's nephew, Gary Carter, is married to JP cousin. So Freddie King is 3 votes. With him, that's 4 votes out of the 7. And this week, we look at the record against Eugene Green, and I have evidence to show you how they are able to control the vote. I don't know if the camera can see, but 4 votes, 2 against the Eugene Green proposal.
All right. Interesting answer. Thank you, Mr. Cutno. You have 60 seconds as well. If you are elected, there has been a lot of back and forth fighting between the mayor, whose popularity numbers are not great, and the current council. Whoever is elected mayor, can you vow right here that you will try to work with that person as a council member?
I am a bridge builder and not a bridge burner. I think that the current council president has focused too much on burning bridges. That has not helped the people of New Orleans keep money in their pockets. I will certainly hold any mayor accountable, but I will also be a bridge builder to build relationships so that we are productive for the people. That I have not seen that with the current council president, and that is a grave mistake, I'll say. If the council president has spent just as much energy that he has spent directed towards the mayor and to other members of council, and directing that same energy towards Entergy New Orleans and making sure our utility bills are lowered, making sure that we don't get another bill such as Delta Utilities, then the people of New Orleans would be much better off. I was told by another council member that particular council member invited all council members to a retreat, sent forth a memo and said, let's have a retreat so that we can sit at the same table together, walk across the hall and talk to each other. That memo, that email with that invitation was declined by the current president of the city council, J.P. Morrell. That makes no sense to me. If we're going to serve this community as leaders, then we need to stand up and be grown people and work together and not operate in dysfunctionality and conflict.
All right, in 30 seconds, because we are running out of time, what is your plan for blight across the city? We've got the old Lindy Boggs Medical Center, Municipal Auditorium, and we got Plaza Tower right down the street. In 30 seconds, what would be your plan to deal with the blight in the city?
Me?
Yes.
Yes. My plan is to go after these absentee landlords. We have been much too patient. The Plaza Tower, it's crumbling to the point that it's affecting people when debris falls off. We cannot tolerate this anymore. We set a deadline, we stick to the deadline, and we penalize heavily until that property and other properties like that are demolished so that we can do something that's productive and beneficial towards the people of New Orleans.
All right, same question, Mr. Cutno, in 30 seconds. If you're elected, what would be your plan for blight, especially these big-ticket blighted properties like Plaza Tower and Lindy Boggs?
Lindy Boggs, I plan to reopen it as a hospital for Mid-City. We have 50,000 blighted homes in this city. I would like to take that property, make it for first-time homeowners, bring it back in commerce, make the capital available so that people can buy it and live in a home. That's what I would like to do with it.
All right, we have more questions. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, so we're going to give you all a chance to make a closing statement. We'll go reverse order this time. So, Mr. Cutno, we'll start with you this time. You have 30 seconds to make a closing statement.
I woke up this morning and the Lord told me I am a pro-business, pro-family, and pro-Christian. He said, Matthew 7:15. People, we are under attack, our democracy and our community. We have outsiders coming into this community trying to manipulate and deceive you. We have insiders trying to manipulate and deceive you. Mr. Manning is not a part of the Democratic Party. Mr. Manning is part of the Democrat Socialist Party. But he's running around like he's part of the two-party system. He's a member of the non-party system. And the non-party is the Democrat Socialist. He's not a real Democrat. JP is running around like he cares about good government. It's not about good government for him. It's about trying to elect Helena Marino, and so they could have the power and the control of the city of New Orleans. And I know a lot of people are going to dislike me for making that statement, but I just told you, there's a racketeering going on. The DA, the Attorney General need to investigate every decision that has been made with that group.
I thank you. Since you did, Mr. Morrell is not here, but since he did mention you by name, you do have a closing statement, but if you'd like to address Pastor Manning what he just said.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no doubt that I am a Democrat. I have been registered to vote since I was 18 years old, and I am a proud Democrat. Do I agree with the Democratic Socialists? Absolutely. With the agenda, I'm proudly endorsed by them, but have no doubt I am a registered Democrat. But in my closing,
yes, please.
Let me say this. As a pastor, I lead my life by two guardrails: to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. We have a lot of our friends and our neighbors that are having to make the tough decision between, do I remain in the city that I love, or do I move to a city that's more livable? Right now, we have a council member that is choosing at this moment to hide behind a camera. And why do I say that? Because I can almost guarantee you that there may be a video put up about Mr. Cutno and I that are standing here, and there will be comments made. That's not what we need. That's not effective. We need to move forward. We need to forge a path forward. So I want to tell the citizens of New Orleans this: I will show up for you. I will fight for you and never against you. I will be the city council member that will always advocate for you so that we can make New Orleans home. I know it's tough right now, and I believe it'll get tougher as federal cuts come down the line, but have no fear. I will be the David that stands against the giant that is corporate greed that is causing us corruption in this city. Vote for Reverend Gregory Manning. I'm number 32 on the ballot. Go to manningforchange.com. I will be that change you need.
All right, Pastor Manning, Kenneth Cutno, we do appreciate your time. That's all the time that we have for the hot seat. I'm Travers Mackel. You can see this entire segment starting Monday morning on WDSU.com.